Chapter 3. I have the heart and stomach of a king, by Queen Elizabeth I, speech to encourage the English militia at Tilbury, 8th of August, 1588. By popular tradition, the reign of Elizabeth I is regarded as a golden age in English history. To a large extent, this is attributable to the flourishing of culture and the beginnings of a maritime empire that took place during the reign. But the Queen contributed to her myth by, among other things, her defiance of the mighty Spanish Empire, and in particular for the rousing speech she is recorded as giving when Spain threatened invasion. By 1588, Anglo-Spanish hostility had reached a peak. Elizabeth's 30-year-old reign had cemented Henry VIII's break from Rome, and the Church of England had moved increasingly towards Protestant practices. In 1570, Pope Pius V excommunicated Elizabeth, an act that technically delegitimized her as a queen in the eyes of the Catholics. Fear of Spanish-backed Catholic schemes to topple Elizabeth became intense, and in the 1580s, plots, real and imagined, were revealed. In 1583, the Spanish ambassador left England for good. Particularly irksome to Spain was the fact that Elizabeth's regime had offered economic and then outright military support to the Dutch rebels fighting for independence in what was the Spanish Netherlands. And in the Caribbean and Atlantic, English privateers, that is government-backed pirates, were harrying ships conveying treasures from the Spanish colonies back to the motherland. And in 1587, a fleet commanded by Sir Francis Drake famously singed the King of Spain's beard when it destroyed more than 24 of Philip II's ships in the port of Cadiz. That was the last straw for Philip, and by early 1588, the English authorities learned that he was planning a huge armada of vessels to invade England. England was rendered particularly vulnerable in continental politics by the fact that in France's long-running religious wars, the Catholic faction currently had the upper hand. At the end of May, over 130 Spanish ships and as many as 18,000 men, commanded by the Duke of Medina Sidonia, set sail from Spain to rendezvous with land forces under the Duke of Parma near Calais. On 28th or 29th of July, the English commander, Lord Howard of Effingham, ordered English fireships to attack the Spanish fleet of the French coast, resulting in the so-called Battle of Gravelines. Much of the armada then dispersed towards the North Sea, eventually rounding Scotland, but it encountered gales and shipwrecks off Ireland, and few ships or men made it back to Spain. Peace with Spain was several years off, but never again would Spain be able to threaten England with such a show of force. On the 8th of August, though, the English could not know that the danger of invasion was diminishing. On that day, Elizabeth traveled to the hastily assembled militia at Tilbury, on the Thames estuary, where she gave her memorable speech to inspire them in defense of their homeland and their monarch. Quote, "My loving people, we have been persuaded by some that are careful of our safety to take heed how we commit ourselves to armed multitudes for fear of treachery. But I assure you, I do not desire to live to distrust my faithful and loving people. Let tyrants fear. I have always so behaved myself that, under God, I have placed my chiefest strength and safeguard in the loyal hearts and goodwill of my subjects. And therefore I am come amongst you, as you see, at this time, not for my recreation and disport, but being resolved in the midst and heat of the battle, to live and die amongst you all, to lay down for my God and for my kingdom and my people my honor and my blood, even in the dust. I know I have the body but of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king, and of a king of England too. And think foul scorn that Parma or Spain or any prince of Europe should dare to invade the borders of my realm, to which rather than any dishonor shall grow by me, I myself will take up arms, I myself will be your general, judge, and rewarder of every one of your virtues in the field. I know already for your forwardness you have deserved rewards and crowns, and we do assure you in the word of a prince they shall be duly paid you. In the meantime, my lieutenant general shall be in my stead. That whom never prince commanded a more noble or worthy subject, not doubting but by your obedience to my general, by your concord in the camp, and your valor in the field, we shall shortly have a famous victory over those enemies of my God, of my kingdom, and of my people."